Chapter 1: The Founding of Yoshioka-ryu. In the bustling heart of Kyoto during the late 16th century, a school of swordsmanship was founded that would become renowned throughout Japan, Yoshioka-ryu. Its founder, Yoshioka Kenpo, was a man of great ambition and unparalleled skill in the art of the sword. Born into a family with a modest martial background, Kenpo was determined to elevate his family's name to legendary status. Kyoto, with its ancient temples and vibrant marketplaces, was a city steeped in tradition and conflict. Samurai, merchants, and artisans all mingled in its busy streets, and the demand for martial prowess was ever present. Amid this backdrop, Yoshioka Kenpo envisioned a school that would not only teach the art of the sword, but also instill the virtues of discipline, honor, and strategy. From a young age, Kenpo showed extraordinary talent and dedication. His father, a minor samurai, recognized Kenpo's potential and ensured that he received the best training available. Kenpo's training was rigorous and relentless, beginning at dawn and often continuing late into the night. His father taught him the basics, but Kenpo's thirst for knowledge drove him to seek out other masters across Japan. Kenpo's travels took him to remote mountain dojos, coastal villages, and bustling cities. He learned from the best warriors and teachers of the time, each imparting their unique philosophies and techniques. He studied the swift, flowing strikes of the coastal swordsmen, the powerful, precise cuts of the mountain samurai, and the strategic, patient approach of the city duelists. Kenpo absorbed these diverse techniques and philosophies, melding them into his own unique style. By the time he returned to Kyoto, he had developed a comprehensive and effective system of swordsmanship, which he named Yoshioka-ryu. The Yoshioka-ryu was built on the principles of adaptability, precision, and efficiency. Kenpo emphasized the importance of understanding an opponent's weaknesses and exploiting them with swift, decisive actions. His techniques were not only practical, but also designed to be adaptable to various combat situations. Under Kenpo's leadership, the Yoshioka-ryu gained a reputation for its practical and lethal techniques. The school's training regimen was intense, focusing on both physical conditioning and mental fortitude. Kenpo believed that a true swordsman needed to be as sharp in mind as in blade. He often said, "A dull mind wields a dull sword." The school attracted many students, including samurai from prestigious clans. These samurai were drawn to Kenpo's reputation and the effectiveness of the Yoshioka-ryu techniques. Kenpo was a demanding master, expecting nothing less than perfection from his students. He pushed them to their limits, ensuring that each one could defend themselves and their honor on the battlefield. Kenpo's fame spread far and wide, and the Yoshioka-ryu became one of the most respected martial schools in Kyoto. The school's dojo, nestled in a quiet part of the city, became a hub of activity. The sound of clashing swords and the shouts of students filled the air, a testament to the rigorous training taking place within. The dojo itself was a reflection of Kenpo's vision. It was both austere and functional, with walls adorned with scrolls depicting famous battles and philosophical teachings. A small garden at the back provided a tranquil space for meditation and reflection, emphasizing the balance between martial and spiritual training. Yoshioka Kenpo's rise to prominence was marked by his unwavering dedication and his ability to innovate within the traditional framework of Japanese swordsmanship. His school's success was not just due to his skill with the sword, but also his understanding of the deeper principles of combat and strategy. He taught his students that mastery of the sword was not merely about physical prowess, but also about cultivating a sharp mind and a strong spirit. As the Yoshioka-ryu flourished, Kenpo continued to refine his techniques and teachings. He wrote extensively on the art of the sword, his scrolls becoming treasured texts for future generations of martial artists. His influence extended beyond his immediate students, shaping the development of swordsmanship in Japan for years to come. Yoshioka Kenpo's legacy was built on the foundation of his relentless pursuit of excellence and his deep understanding of the martial arts. The Yoshioka-ryu stood as a beacon of skill, discipline, and honor in the heart of Kyoto, a testament to Kenpo's vision and dedication. The school's reputation, bolstered by Kenpo's leadership, ensured that its name would be remembered in the annals of Japanese martial history. Chapter 2: The injury and revenge. Despite his growing influence and reputation, Kenpo's life was not without challenges. One fateful day, he encountered a no-actor named Kamiyazumi Hidetsuna, known for his skill not just in acting, but also in martial arts. During a performance, Hidetsuna mockingly challenged Kenpo, questioning his prowess. The encounter between Yoshioka Kenpo and Kamiyazumi Hidetsuna took place during a prestigious event attended by many influential figures. The event was held in a grand hall adorned with ornate decorations, where the elite of Kyoto gathered to enjoy the traditional art of No theater. Hidetsuna was a prominent figure in the No community, renowned for his captivating performances and his exceptional skill in the martial arts. His dual talents made him a unique and respected figure. As the performance progressed, Hidetsuna, dressed in elaborate No attire and wearing a striking mask, performed with grace and precision. The audience was mesmerized by his movements, each gesture steeped in centuries of tradition. However, beneath the serene surface of the performance, a tension was building. Hidetsuna, known for his sharp wit and daring nature, had planned to challenge Kenpo publicly, seeking to test the renowned swordsman's mettle. During an interlude in the performance, Hidetsuna stepped forward and addressed the audience. "Honored guests," he began, his voice carrying a mix of respect and challenge, "we are graced tonight by the presence of Yoshioka Kenpo, the esteemed master of Yoshioka-ryu. I have heard much of his legendary skill, and I am curious to witness it firsthand." The hall fell silent as all eyes turned to Kenpo. The challenge was unexpected and bold, and it was clear that Hidetsuna intended to provoke a reaction. Kenpo, seated among the dignitaries, felt the weight of the challenge. His pride and reputation were at stake. Rising calmly, Kenpo accepted the challenge with a nod. "If you wish to see my skill, then I shall not disappoint," he replied, his voice steady and composed. The atmosphere in the hall shifted as the audience anticipated the confrontation. A makeshift arena was quickly arranged, and the two men faced each other. Hidetsuna, despite his theatrical background, was no stranger to combat. His movements were fluid and deceptive, a blend of performance and martial prowess. Kenpo, on the other hand, embodied the disciplined and lethal efficiency of Yoshioka-ryu. The duel began with a series of exchanges, each testing the other's defenses. Hidetsuna's unconventional style initially caught Kenpo off guard. His movements, infused with the grace of No theater, were unpredictable and challenging to counter. Kenpo, accustomed to traditional combat, found himself struggling to anticipate Hidetsuna's attacks. In a pivotal moment, Hidetsuna executed a swift and unexpected move, striking Kenpo and causing a serious injury. The blow, though not fatal, was deeply embarrassing for Kenpo. The audience gasped, and whispers spread through the hall. Kenpo's defeat at the hands of an actor was a severe blow to his pride and reputation. As Kenpo lay injured, his mind raced with thoughts of humiliation and anger. The injury was not just physical, but also a deep wound to his pride. The sting of defeat burned within him, and he vowed to restore his honor. This encounter marked a turning point in Kenpo's life, fueling his desire for revenge and redemption. In the days following the duel, Kenpo withdrew from public life to recover from his injury. During this period of isolation, he reflected on the duel and analyzed Hidetsuna's techniques. He realized that his defeat was not merely due to Hidetsuna's skill, but also his own underestimation of his opponent. Kenpo resolved to never make the same mistake again. Months passed, and Kenpo's determination for revenge grew stronger. He meticulously planned his retribution, studying Hidetsuna's movements and strategies. Kenpo sought out additional training, refining his skills and preparing for the inevitable rematch. His dedication to his craft became even more intense, and his students at Yoshioka-ryu noticed a new, fierce determination in their master. Kenpo's opportunity for revenge came during another public event. This time, the encounter was less theatrical and more personal. Kenpo issued a formal challenge to Hidetsuna, who, confident in his previous victory, accepted without hesitation. The stage was set for a second confrontation, one that would determine the true master. As the two men faced each other once more, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Kenpo's eyes burned with focused intensity, and his movements were sharp and precise. Hidetsuna, though confident, sensed the change in his opponent. The duel began with a series of calculated strikes and counters, each testing the other's resolve. Kenpo's preparation and newfound insight into Hidetsuna's style paid off. He anticipated Hidetsuna's deceptive moves and countered with swift, decisive actions. The duel reached its climax as Kenpo, with a powerful and precise strike, defeated Hidetsuna. The victory was clear and unequivocal. With Hidetsuna defeated, Kenpo's honor was restored. The audience, initially stunned by the intensity of the duel, erupted in applause. Kenpo's reputation soared, and the Yoshioka-ryu's status as a premier school of swordsmanship was solidified. This victory was not just a personal triumph, but also a reaffirmation of Kenpo's dedication to his craft and his unwavering pursuit of excellence. The duel with Hidetsuna became a legendary tale within the annals of the Yoshioka-ryu. Kenpo's students took inspiration from their master's resilience and determination, embodying these qualities in their own training. Kenpo himself emerged from the ordeal stronger and wiser, his experience serving as a testament to the importance of humility, preparation, and perseverance in the martial arts. Chapter 3: Acts of Tsujijiri. As his fame grew, so did Kenpo's ruthlessness. During this turbulent period, the practice of Tsujijiri, or crossroads killing, was not uncommon among samurai. Kenpo, in his quest to constantly test his skill and assert his dominance, engaged in this brutal practice. Tsujijiri, literally meaning crossroads cutting, was a grim tradition where samurai would test their new swords or their combat skills by attacking unsuspecting passers-by at night. This act was a stark reflection of the brutal and volatile times of the late Sengoku period, where the line between honor and barbarity was often blurred. For Kenpo, Tsujijiri was more than just a test of his blade, it was a test of his nerve, skill, and the efficacy of his techniques. Under the cover of night, Kenpo would don a plain kimono, ensuring he was not recognized as the esteemed master of Yoshioka-ryu. He would then blend into the shadows, his senses heightened and every muscle in his body coiled like a spring, ready to strike. The moonlit streets of Kyoto, normally filled with the bustling life of day, were eerily quiet at night. The flickering lanterns cast long, ominous shadows, creating an atmosphere ripe with tension. Kenpo's choice of victims was seemingly random, but always strategic. He targeted those who appeared to be unaware and unprepared, testing his ability to deliver a fatal blow in an instant. The act of Tsujijiri required not just physical prowess, but also psychological dominance. Kenpo had to suppress any moral hesitation and embrace the cold detachment necessary to carry out such ruthless acts. Each encounter was swift and brutal. Kenpo's blade would flash in the dim light, cutting through the night with deadly precision. The victims often had no time to react, their lives extinguished in a heartbeat. These acts of Tsujijiri, while horrifying to the common people, served as a stark reminder of the lethal efficiency of the Yoshioka-ryu techniques. News of these killings spread rapidly, adding to Kenpo's fearsome reputation. Despite the terror he inflicted, Kenpo saw Tsujijiri as a necessary evil. In his mind, the practice was a form of continuous improvement. Each kill was an opportunity to refine his techniques, to understand the nuances of delivering a perfect strike, and to test the sharpness of his blade. The practice was also a way to keep his instincts sharp and his reflexes honed. In the deadly dance of a duel, even the slightest hesitation could mean the difference between life and death. The psychological toll of Tsujijiri was significant. Kenpo had to constantly battle with the inner turmoil that came with taking innocent lives. He justified his actions by convincing himself that these acts were for the greater good of perfecting his art and maintaining his status. However, deep within, the weight of his deeds began to accumulate. The faces of his victims haunted his dreams, a grim reminder of the price of his ambition. In the samurai society, Tsujijiri was a double-edged sword. While it demonstrated a samurai's prowess and instilled fear, it was also seen as an act of dishonor by many. The practice was controversial and increasingly condemned as Japan moved towards a more structured and lawful society. The shogunate viewed sujajiri as a threat to public order and gradually imposed strict penalties on those caught engaging in it. Kenpo was acutely aware of the shifting sentiments. While he thrived on the fear and respect his actions commanded, he also knew that he was walking a perilous path. His acts of sujajiri had to be carefully planned and executed to avoid drawing the ire of the authorities. This added another layer of complexity to his nocturnal endeavors, making each night a test not just of his martial skills, but also of his cunning and discretion. The duality of Kenpo's life became more pronounced. By day, he was the esteemed master of Yoshioka-ryu, a teacher revered by his students and respected by his peers. By night, he was a shadowy predator, honing his lethal skills in the darkest corners of Kyoto. This dichotomy defined Kenpo's existence, creating a complex legacy that would be remembered with a mix of admiration and fear. Kenpo's engagement in sujajiri also served as a harsh lesson for his students. While he never explicitly encouraged them to follow in his footsteps, the stories of his nocturnal exploits were well known within the dojo. These tales, though terrifying, underscored the harsh realities of the samurai life. They highlighted the constant need for vigilance, the relentless pursuit of perfection, and the brutal consequences of failure. In the dimly lit dojo, Kenpo would often share his experiences with his most trusted students. He spoke not with pride, but with a stern reminder of the cost of true mastery. His stories were meant to instill a sense of reality, to prepare his students for the unforgiving world outside the dojo's walls. The lessons were clear: a samurai must be prepared to face death at any moment, and the path to mastery was fraught with peril and moral ambiguity. As Kenpo's reputation grew, so did the scrutiny. The whispers of his acts reached the ears of influential figures in Kyoto. While some admired his unwavering dedication to his craft, others saw him as a dangerous and uncontrollable force. The tension between his public persona and his private actions created an aura of mystery and danger around him. Kenpo's acts of sujajiri, though rooted in a desire for self-improvement, ultimately reflected the darker side of the samurai code. They highlighted the fine line between honor and brutality, and the complex nature of reputation and respect in a warrior's life. For Kenpo, the night brought both the opportunity for growth and the constant threat of moral and physical destruction. Chapter 4. The Duel with Miyamoto Musashi. The fame of Yoshioka Kenpo and the Yoshioka-ryu eventually attracted the attention of Miyamoto Musashi, a wandering swordsman known for his unmatched skill and unconventional tactics. Musashi had already built a reputation through numerous duels, and he sought to challenge the head of the Yoshioka-ryu to further establish his own legacy. Word of Musashi's intent reached Kenpo through whispers and rumors, each more tantalizing than the last. Musashi's reputation preceded him, a swordsman who had never been defeated, whose unconventional strategies had outwitted many a seasoned warrior. For Kenpo, the challenge was inevitable and necessary. Defeating Musashi would cement his place as the preeminent swordsman in Japan, solidifying the Yoshioka-ryu's dominance. The duel was arranged with great fanfare, to take place at dawn in a quiet clearing on the outskirts of Kyoto. The location was chosen for its seclusion and the serenity it offered, providing an ideal setting for a battle that would be etched in history. The clearing was surrounded by tall, ancient trees whose branches seemed to lean in, as if eager to witness the clash of these two titans. As the day of the duel approached, the atmosphere within the Yoshioka-ryu dojo was charged with anticipation and tension. Kenpo's students trained with renewed fervor, inspired by their master's impending confrontation with the legendary Musashi. Kenpo himself remained calm and focused, spending hours in meditation and refining his techniques. He knew that this duel would test not only his skill, but also his composure and strategic acumen. The morning of the duel arrived, and the first light of dawn began to pierce through the canopy of trees. Kenpo stood alone in the clearing, his katana gleaming in the soft light. He was dressed in a simple, unadorned kimono, a stark contrast to the elaborate armor and attire he often wore. This duel was not about appearances, it was about pure skill and determination. Musashi arrived shortly after, his entrance as understated as his reputation was grand. He was a tall, imposing figure, carrying two swords, a long katana and a shorter wakizashi, strapped to his waist. His demeanor was calm and confident, his eyes sharp and focused. Musashi's reputation for unorthodox tactics and psychological warfare preceded him, and Kenpo was well aware that this duel would be unlike any he had faced before. The two swordsmen faced each other, the tension between them palpable. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with anticipation. Kenpo's mind was a storm of thoughts and strategies, but he forced himself to focus, to let his training and instincts guide him. Musashi, on the other hand, appeared almost relaxed, his body language conveying a readiness to adapt to whatever might come. The duel began with a series of measured, probing strikes, each swordsman testing the other's defenses. Kenpo's movements were precise and deliberate, a testament to his rigorous training and the refined techniques of Yoshioka-ryu. Musashi's style, however, was fluid and unpredictable, his strikes coming from unexpected angles and with varying tempos. The clash of their blades echoed through the clearing, a symphony of skill and strategy. Kenpo quickly realized that Musashi's unorthodox approach was designed to disrupt his rhythm and throw him off balance. Musashi's movements were almost playful, yet each strike carried lethal intent. Kenpo had to constantly adapt, shifting his stance and altering his techniques to counter Musashi's relentless assault. It was a battle of wits as much as it was of physical prowess. As the duel progressed, Kenpo found himself increasingly challenged. Musashi's adaptability and creativity were unlike anything he had encountered before. Every time Kenpo thought he had discerned a pattern in Musashi's attacks, the latter would change tactics, keeping him perpetually off guard. It was a testament to Musashi's strategic genius and his ability to remain unpredictable even in the heat of combat. Despite the mounting pressure, Kenpo's resolve remained unshaken. He drew upon the full extent of his training, employing the most advanced techniques of Yoshioka-ryu. His strikes were swift and precise, aimed at exploiting any opening in Musashi's defense. Yet, Musashi's movements were like water, flowing effortlessly around Kenpo's attacks and countering with swift, unexpected strikes. In a critical moment, Musashi executed a bold and unorthodox maneuver. He switched his grip on his katana, using it more like a club than a blade, and delivered a powerful strike aimed at disarming Kenpo. The move was unexpected, and Kenpo, caught off guard, was forced to react instinctively. He managed to deflect the blow, but the force of it disrupted his balance, creating a fleeting opening that Musashi was quick to exploit. With a swift, decisive strike, Musashi landed a blow that pierced Kenpo's defenses. The katana cut deep into Kenpo's side, and he staggered, blood pouring from the wound. The clearing fell silent as Kenpo struggled to remain on his feet, the pain and shock overwhelming his senses. Musashi stepped back, his blade poised, waiting to see if Kenpo would continue. Kenpo, his breath heavy and labored, looked into Musashi's eyes and saw not arrogance but respect. He understood that Musashi had bested him not through sheer force, but through superior strategy and adaptability. In a final act of defiance, Kenpo attempted one last strike, but his strength failed him. He fell to his knees, his vision darkening as life ebbed from his body. Musashi lowered his blade and approached Kenpo, offering a respectful bow. "You fought with honor, Yoshioka Kenpo," he said softly, acknowledging his opponent's skill and determination. Kenpo, with his last breath, nodded in acceptance of his fate. The duel was over, and the outcome was clear. Kenpo had been bested and his life had come to an end. The news of Kenpo's death spread rapidly, sending shockwaves through the Yoshioka-ryu and the broader martial community. Kenpo's students were left in a state of grief and uncertainty, their master gone and their school's future in jeopardy. The once thriving dojo became a place of mourning, its halls filled with the echoes of Kenpo's teachings and the weight of his legacy. Despite the loss, Kenpo's death served as a powerful lesson for his students and followers. His journey from a celebrated master to a fallen warrior underscored the harsh realities of the samurai life. Kenpo's dedication to his art, even in the face of insurmountable challenges, inspired his students to persevere and honor his memory. The Yoshioka-ryu, though diminished, survived through the dedication of Kenpo's remaining students. They preserved his teachings and adapted them, ensuring that the principles of Yoshioka-ryu lived on. Kenpo's scrolls, filled with his insights and philosophies, became treasured texts for future generations of swordsmen. His story, passed down through the ages, served as both a cautionary tale and an inspiration. In the annals of Japanese martial history, Yoshioka Kenpo's legacy is remembered with a mix of reverence and complexity. His life was a journey of ambition, skill, and profound struggle, marked by moments of brilliance and deep introspection. Kenpo's story highlights the relentless pursuit of mastery, the importance of humility, and the enduring impact of a true martial artist. The final chapter of Kenpo's life, marked by his confrontation with Musashi and his ultimate demise, underscores the impermanence of power and the ever-present potential for growth through adversity. Kenpo's legacy, though tarnished by his defeat, remains a powerful reminder of the unyielding spirit of the samurai and the timeless quest for perfection.